Okay, everyone. Welcome. It's so good to be back with everyone. Um, Hope everyone's been doing well um, in my absence. Welcome to those who are new to this space. Welcome to those who are seeing me for the first time, and welcome to those who have been here for a while as well. Um, So awesome. Yeah. First I just want to thank um, all the practice leaders for holding space since I've been away. Thank you so much. Um, it makes it so much easier for me to do other work as well, and to know that there are people who are willing to step up to hold the space. You will be seeing them again as well. This is not a one-time thing, but I'm really appreciative, and I hope that the practice was still fruitful and profound for everyone as well. So, please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat if you would like, um, as well. Um, so yeah, there's so many things I want to share, to talk about. Um, we're going to be deepening the practice in really significant ways as well. Um, and we're going to get into the next stage of our practice in November. So after our Bhumi Sparsha retreat, we're going to introduce a new kind of level to the practice to Medicine Buddha. So I'm excited about that. I did a lot of Medicine Buddha practice in retreat. So um, my practice deepened as well with Medicine Buddha. So as always, you see the chat, the link to the Google Docs, so you can add prayers, and I'll be offering prayers tonight too. Um, what else? Let's see. Welcome to those who, again, I was with in August up in New England. Um, so welcome to you all. If you're joining from, the Chinrezi retreat, or from Wonderwell, or from Chautauqua as well, and welcome. Um, yeah, yeah. I had a really good retreat. I had a very hard retreat, but it was necessary, and um, I feel really, a lot better now being back in the world. Um, so for today, yeah. So this is a different season. So I left you in summer. Now it's fall, so we're moving into fall. And fall in October, but fall in general is so rich with different kinds of rituals. We just had the Jewish New Year last week, and we're moving into um, really rituals, observances around light and darkness, around the harvest um, as well. We're moving into rituals around ancestors and spirits coming up as well. The Burmese Sparsha retreat will be about really touching into the unseen world as well, which is really this through our resistance to darkness, right? Within Tantra, everything has to be held equally without reaction. So the dark must be held, you know, as enthusiastically, maybe, um, as the light, because the nature of everything is emptiness. It arises out of this emptiness and space and energy, right? So it's this kind of realization, um, that there's no difference, there's no separation, there's only a oneness, right? And that is the ultimate expression of spirituality, is the experience of unity, right? The experience of transcending the binary, right? That's spirituality. It's not the rituals and the chants and the costumes, and the ceremonies. It's the experience of returning home, right? That's the practice um, of the spiritual, right? And so that's what we observe, you know, moving into these months. This is, I call this ceremony season, right? And of course, we have, the winter solstice in late December. So lots of stuff, right, to work with. So again, so I'm Lama Rod. I use he, him pronouns. So I am coming to you. I'm teaching and living on the ancestral lands um, of the Cherokee and Muskogee and Creek people. Um, and today is Indigenous Peoples Day, but really every day is, in my mind, Indigenous Peoples Day, just like every day is Black History Day and every day is Pride. So I don't, I try not to over observe how, these days. It's more important that we um, incorporate an inclusive, expansive observance of as much as possible every day, to live a connected whole life where we remember, who we are and what we are and who we descend from and what our work is, moving forward. There's a lot of work right now. We're in the depth of apocalypse, right? Um, and there's a necessity for apocalypse as well. It's not about, just, it's not so much about ending, but it's actually about rebirth, right? And to be reborn, you have to give up something. You have to let something go. Something must be sacrificed, right? And to sacrifice often means that we have to experience the deep discomfort of what it means to let go of something we thought we needed, right? Or something that we've learned to self-identify with, right? And that can be, it's painful to experience that breakdown of what you thought was real and needed in order to open into, what is liberatory. Right? You have to go through the suffering to get to the freedom, right? You have to step out of incarceration, and stepping out of the carceral state uh, is one of the hardest things to do. You know, stepping out of the carceral state means we're stepping out of ignorance and delusion. We're stepping out of fixation. We're stepping out of intense desire. We're letting go of the person we thought we were and turning towards what is spacious and fluid, as well. Um, so we continue, and we continue to do our practice. There are so many things that we need to be doing on the ground in the world in terms of organizing and activism and politics and everything. And then the other side of this coin is the spiritual warfare, which is hot and heavy right now. It's the warfare, happening within the unseen world that's always happening. Um, and so I've been concerning myself, particularly this past month, the retreat, with the spiritual warfare, right? Some of us have to be on those front lines of working with, the beings and the energies that are often at the root of the violence and the injustice that we experience, right? Um, this is so much an indigenous worldview here. Like, if you want to tune in and a kind of indigeneity, you have to return back into this belief system, right? And this belief system has been disrupted by colonialism, and capitalism and so forth, right? The belief, the commitment to the health and the balance of the unseen world, right? To the consciousness of the earth and the sky, to the earthbound beings, you know, to the consciousness of the homes that we're living in, to the energy and the consciousness of all the elements, as well, and especially to the work, well, into the reality of our ancestors, right? Um, if you take care of the ancestors will take care of you. For those of you who are not taking care of your ancestors, you're missing a very important and profound source of care and support. I I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the care of the ancestors, right? And I'm very much tuned um, to my ancestors, right? It's a relationship I can just feel, you know, and communicate directly into. And that's because I've done the work and the practice of turning back and beginning to trying to understand who my ancestors are. And of course, I've had a lot of help with plant medicines, ayahuasca, and so forth, which will open the door if you want it, um, that door to be open. Um, and it's made so much difference, to feel the support, to feel as if I'm working on a team. I take care of them, they take care of me, I take care of them, by living the life that they didn't get to live, by remembering them, by offering back to them, by doing my work of trying to get others free, you know. And of course, they help through protection and gathering resources that I need to be well too. Of course, being well and gathering resources is really the spirit of Medicine Buddha as well. So these are all the things that are happening this season, as we move, to the end of another year. I have so many announcements to make about, you know, work and things or projects and things coming up. Um, but we don't have to do that now or today. I will gradually announce these things, but always stay tuned. Please sign up for Bhumi Sparsha's newsletter and my personal newsletter as well. The retreats for next year are mostly planned. Um, Not the Bhumi Sparsha retreats, but the retreats that I'm teaching. Those retreats are almost finished being scheduled. So we're gonna make sure that people know so they can plan ahead. Um, for those of you in the UK, I have a little bit of a surprise retreat coming up on November 20th. So if you're in the UK, I will be back on the 20th, and we'll be doing a one-day retreat in Portsmouth, South Sea, Portsmouth, where I always do it. When I do I do one-day retreats all over the UK, but so you'll get that announcement either Bhumi Sparsha's website or Bhumi Sparsha's newsletter or my newsletter. Okay. So awesome. So again, welcome to everyone who's joining us for the first time. And so as we move into practice, next month I'm going to be introducing some more advanced practices around mantra. Mantra is the key here when we're working with deities. And we're going to be doing some intensive practice with the mantra. So we'll introduce that after the Rumi Sparsha retreat here in Atlanta, end of the month. But until then, one thing that's been really important in terms of a practice theme has been the labor, the work um, of lifting. And lifting, energetically lifting out of these experiences of cyclical suffering, right? Despair, hopelessness, sadness. To get into this lifting, right? And we're going to practice this. We haven't quite done anything like this yet. But we're going to be relying on the breath here. This deep inhale, and as we exhale, lifting. So imagining energetically lifting, right? And for some of us, that means that like there's a physical component beyond the breath, which means that like when we imagine lifting, we're actually lifting our upper bodies, right? And so it's a kind of I don't want to say dance, but it's a movement practice in a way that we want to get into. So, and we'll go step by step through this in the practice. Don't worry if you don't get it now. But again, this idea really is coming out of the ways that I've seen myself, or in ways that I have felt kind of trapped in experiences and drama, and these cycles of anxiety and worry, and having to really stop everything and to actually imagine what it would feel like to actually lift out of these experiences, like we're floating up, so that floating up means that we're letting go, as well, like lifting, letting go. So there's a kind of experience where we're reaching up to the sky, and we're staying rooted in the ground, and we're experiencing a kind of connection to that experience of being both rooted and also stretching upwards, right? Because most of our experience now is just being really heavy and sinking right now. So it's important to stay rooted, but it's also important to lift, to feel the connection to sky, and to feel the rootedness in the earth, right? To feel the blessings of the earth as mother, to feel and to touch into the sky as the father, right? We call this the sacred dualism. Like we're trying to transcend dualism, but we're trying to use also dualism to understand wholeness. The expression of light and dark, or the expression of mother and father, the expression of up and down, and earth and sky, and so forth. To realize that, and then once you realize that duality, is to move from there into this realizing that there's no separation necessarily to begin with, but you have to name and embrace dualism in order to begin to see the illusion of dualism. Right? And so, and we talked about this before, a couple of months ago, and how this relates to anti-transgender violence, anti-trans violence, because there is this deep insecurity, around the fluidity of dualism, right? We think that we think that we get planted in one location, one identity, and that's it, when in fact, identity and consciousness itself is nothing but fluidity, right? And so when we're moving through the world, when we see people embodying this kind of fluidity, this kind of fluid dualism, then it becomes a mirror reflecting back to us the ways in which our stuckness in one location is actually suffering, you know. And because we can't take responsibility for that suffering and we can't hold that suffering, we start reacting to it, and perpetuating this violence against those who are reminding us of the suffering, fluidity, or the suffering that we experience and our rigidity, as well. So to notice, to name dualism, right? To hold dualism, and then slowly to allow the oneness, or rather the illusion of duality, to reveal a oneness, and to feel that illusion dissolving and leading us into the oneness, which I think this is Mahamudra. For those of you who are professional Tibetan Buddhists, you know, so this is all, of course, related to the lifting practice that I've been talking about. So we may do both. We may do some practice around dissolving duality, and holding, the energy of duality, and of course, moving into the lifting, as well. So as we continue again, please go ahead in the next minutes. If you have a prayer request, go ahead and add those to the Google Doc. If you're just joining the Google Doc, you have to kind of scroll up to see where the Google Doc has been posted. Okay. We're going to do some extended practice also around connecting to the earth, connecting to the indigenous memory of the land, as well. Okay. So just a couple more seconds. If you have a prayer request, go ahead and type that in. In the meantime, let's just start getting ready to move into our formal practice, right? So coming into a position that feels appropriate, so when I say appropriate, a position that isn't so comfortable that you can't concentrate, right? But not being in a position that's so uncomfortable that you get distracted in, but the middle way here. We're trying to find a practice position where we have the capacity to hold both comfort and discomfort, right? And maybe we won't ever find that perfect balance, but what we're training in is just to have the capacity to hold, right? To notice and not react, and to offer space to whatever arises as a sensation, be it mental or physical. It doesn't matter because it's all energy anyway. Right? Just to hold the movement, the experience of energy that we label as sensation. And even that sensation, be it pleasurable or unpleasurable or even neutral, is a doorway, an entry point into this experience of oneness, of unity, where, as our great prophet, or our great prophetess, Lauren Hill, said, everything is everything. Even though I hope she was having a conversation with her daughter that will start. She pulled with Kanye West. But anyway, that's a distraction. the oneness of everything. And even thinking about reflecting on everything that's happening for us, everything that we're struggling with individually in our communities, in our family, in politics, in the world, right? Even all of that struggle is a doorway into the oneness, right? When we enter into that oneness, it doesn't mean that we stop caring. It doesn't mean that we stop working. It means there's this incredible space that opens up that gives us the space to actually be really effective in trying to disrupt the chaos around us and inside of us. Right? When I enter into oneness, it doesn't mean that like I want to escape or I'm bypassing. It means that like I'm getting the space to figure out exactly what to do and how to do it. Because when we're really being consumed by the struggle, it's really hard to be innovative and creative and to know what to do. The why, the most effective change work that we can do is really coming out of our capacity to respond to crisis, not habitually react. Because responsiveness means that there is some clarity, there's some discernment. And just with habitual reactivity, we don't always get it right when we're just habitually reacting. Sometimes we do get it right, you know. But we want to be responsive. We want to have the capacity to choose how to get involved and to choose what to do. Everything is everything. Right? The nature of this is the same nature as that. Right? So when you're ready, let's bring our attention really to the seat now. What are you resting on? What's holding you? I wonder if you can notice the weight of your body and the way your body's making contact with the seat under you. And of course, that becomes an anchor that we notice. And it's neither good or bad, it just is. It's just, our body's making contact with the seat. The seat rises to hold us. I wonder if you can trust the seat to hold you. Can you trust that the seat is caring for you in this moment? Can a seat, an object, care for you? I believe it can. So let it care for you, let it hold you. Sometimes we can imagine the seat to be our ancestors, right? Rising to hold us, or the seat can be the earth rising to hold us, or it can be our family, or our partners and lovers, or whomever, our communities. Allowing the seat to care for you, allowing the seat to become an expression of all the beings who love you. Can you do that? Can the seat become an expression of all the beings who love you and all the beings who are trying to love you, but you keep sabotaging their love and their expression of care for you? Can you break through that and just surrender to the care? I want you to really put some effort here into this. like push through, break through, cut through this habitual resistance to receive care, to experience care, and let the seed care for you. And I want you to feel that care. I want that energy of the care, of that care to move or radiate into a part of your experience that is desperate for care. Let that care move into some of the trauma or some of the despair and the hopelessness. Let that energy of care begin to fill up these experiences that seem really impossible to work with. Spend some time with this. We have time. Spend some time with this. And where's your gratitude right now? You know, what are you grateful for? Are you grateful for the seeds? Are you grateful for being held? Allowing the gratitude to awaken. Be grateful. So if you're working with your breath and taking a deep inhale, breathing into the places, the experiences you're really struggling. Maybe breathing into that experience that feels like that's blocking the experience of being cared for. Breathing into that experience, breathing through the nose, resolving that experience, and then exhaling that energy out of the mouth. Feel the release, let it go. Let the shed go. Again, breathing, inhaling into that experience, that resistance, dissolving that resistance, releasing that resistance. Continue, continue, continue. One of the things that I reflected on a lot in retreats is how I collect things. I collect energies. I take on all the suffering from other folks and other beings, right? And how that just collects in my body and my mind and my energy body, right? And I have to do more work than just releasing, letting go. It's not mine. Letting go of other people's traumas, letting go of other people's disappointments, letting go of so much anxiety, right? And for me, at this point in my practice, I'm able to work with anxiety or fear of the future by actually taking refuge in really the deity, what and then in the deities and practices like medicine Buddha, trusting and honoring my ancestors, right? That as long as I keep practicing things, there are things that will work out. You know, let me say, well, maybe things don't work out. And I think sometimes things don't work out because They are working out. We just don't actually get that they're working out because we're so attached to outcomes and agendas, right? Things have to end up the way I need them to end up, or I will never be happy, right? And development of wisdom and clarity means that you begin to see deeply into the nature of things, into the workings of karma, especially, and that ultimately everything arises from this emptiness, from this illusion to begin with. This is a dream, right? And your work, our work, is to realize the dream and to continue to give a shit about others and what's happening. It isn't easy, but it's possible. To be in the world, to be involved in the world, to care for the world, to love the world, to be a part of change work, and to understand that the world is just this dream, this illusion. That's where we're headed. To have the space to do the work that's important in the world means that we have to let go of our fixation on the realness of everything. Right, just a few more moments here. Again, I want you to take this care from the seat very seriously because so many of you aren't experiencing care right now. You feel very disconnected from the energy of care. We have to start reestablishing that outlet, that channel of care. And we start now with the seat. A few more moments. And so when you're ready, and as we continue moving through the practice, feel free to stay wherever you want to stay. Like if this is the practice that feels really full and generative right now, working with this energy of care, please stay here and work with this. So as I move on, it's always an invitation, not a requirement. So if you choose to, I invite you to allow the seat, the weight of your body, right, and that anchor of the body making contact with the seat. Allow it to lead you, float you down into the earth, where our awareness begins to touch into the consciousness of the earth, with the mother. Beginning to connect to this energetic expression of groundedness and stability and nurturing that comes from the stability. Letting the earth settle you. And we can release, we can let go and offer the things that we're struggling with into the mother. into the earth, because the earth can hold it and not be overwhelmed. The earth is an awakened consciousness, so there is no way that the earth can be overwhelmed, because an awakened consciousness does not believe in boundaries, limitations like we do. An awakened consciousness is filled with nothing but clarity and bliss. And we're still, though our consciousness is in one way awakened, we haven't realized that awakened state yet. So our consciousness is kind of split. There's the consciousness, our awakened consciousness as it is, and then there's this awareness that's glued around, stuck around this sense of ego and self. Right? And what we're trying to do is disrupt the fixation to ego so the secondary consciousness can expand back into the primary consciousness. So big mind, small mind, or mother consciousness and the child consciousness, us being the child consciousness, the consciousness that's attached to ego is the child consciousness, and we're trying to let go of that so we can expand back into the mother consciousness. And that is enlightenment, awakening. And consciousness realizes consciousness. But until then, we become aware of the earth and allowing the awakened consciousness of the earth to reflect back to us the natural state of our primary consciousness. So letting the expansive, boundless, awakened consciousness of the earth hold us. Offering into this vast ocean of awakening everything that we struggle with, the anxiety, the fear, the pain, the suffering, all these things that keep us from realizing our awakened state, our awakened consciousness. So let the mother, manifesting as the earth in this moment, take care of you in the same way you practice allowing the seat to take care of you. And again, if you choose to, moving a little deeper into the practice, I invite you just to begin to reflect. If you're living on land, that has been stolen or appropriated, a land where many of the indigenous ancestral inhabitants of the land are no longer present, remembering those communities. If you're living on the land of your people, if you descend from the land and haven't been displaced, remembering your people, remembering your kin, your ancestors, calling their energies into your practice space. And I wonder if you can hold the lives of these people and their consciousness in the same way you have been being held by the earth and by the sea. Just noticing, allowing, offering space, not reacting, but just allowing, remembering. So much apart, so much of this work is about remembering what has happened, remembering who we are, remembering who we really want to be, and who we want to become. If you want to go further, I invite you to imagine that you're just offering whatever these beings need, in whatever form they need it in, be it joy, be it pleasure, right? Be it reconciliation, whatever it is, just offering mentally, imagining, just offering boundless waves of what beings need. Losing yourself in the practice of generosity. And actually, this is where I'm going to offer the first round of mantras is right here as we're connected to the earth and offering as well. And you can imagine offering into the earth as well. Maybe the energy of gratitude into the earth, offering whatever the beings around you connected to this earth need as well. And if we turn our attention to the mantra, um, beginning with the opening mantra, Om Namah Sangye Kino Soha, beginning to evoke the awakened consciousness of Medicine Buddha, of Minla Sangye, and allowing Medicine Buddha, as we evoke them to help us to open our hearts and minds even more widely. Letting Medicine Buddha show us how to let go of the fear and resentment. And just again evoking, calling Medicine Buddha into the space. Om Nila Sangye Kino Soha. We begin. Om Nila Sangye Kino Soha. Om Nila Sangye Kino Soha. Om Nila Sangye Kino Soha. Om Nila Sangye Kino I'm beginning to feel the presence of Medicine Buddha. And if you're not feeling the presence, just trusting that Medicine Buddha has arisen in the space around you. Let's transition now to our main mantra, Teya Taum Bekenze. Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. And of course, you see the translations there in the chat box. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate. So let the mantra awaken this deep, radical generosity to offer to all beings what they need in whatever form they need it in this moment. Offering, if you choose, even to the people that you don't like. O Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Taum Bekenze Bekenze Ma Bekenze Rasa Sumo Nate Soha. Teya Keada umbeganze beganze mabeganze azusunate soa. 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 Yada umbeganze beganze mabeganze azusunate soa. Keada 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 umbeganze mabeganze azusunate soa. Keada umbeganze beganze 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 Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, azumangetizoa. 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 And so staying within this practice of offering this generosity, we turn our attention to the prayer requests. And so as I offer the prayers, I want you to imagine that you're offering, what is needed for the person being offered in the prayers, be it happiness, be it healing, be it clarity, whatever it may be, you're imagining offering this, as light, as energy, as imagining all their obstacles being removed for them to experience what they most need in this moment. So again, we call into the space all the beings, awakened, enlightened beings that can hold these prayers and work on our behalf to fulfill these prayers. All the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yedams, Dharma protectors, all the elements, all the angels, all the guides and guardians of this land, all the angels, right? All of our benevolent ancestors, all beings, the mother and the father. We call into the space, asking that you fulfill the aspirations and the needs of all the prayers being offered. As we do our part as well, to offer the energy as well into what is needed. So we offer prayers for Edna, Suzanne, Mandy, and Santanisha, for all those experiencing chronic pain, addiction, and houselessness. May my practice serve my ability to show up authentically, extending dignity to myself and others. I'm offering prayers for Ukraine and for my father's spine. I'm offering prayers for the health, the sustainability, power, care, and magic of all beings applying themselves to love struggles for creative awakening and collective liberation throughout all space and time. Offering prayers for abundance, compassion, empathy, along with the raising of the vibrational frequency and augmentation of all sentient beings, past, present, and future. Praying for me as I navigate a challenging relationship with us and make some choices for investing my energy in our mutual organization. Prayer for V as she completes treatment for human parvovirus. Offering prayers for Jay as she deals with multiple losses and the disorientation in their wake. Offering prayers for Crystal as she builds a new life after the transition of her fiance. Offering prayers for the land and all those who belong to her. Prayers for myself as I struggle in past suffering and get all tangled up in the narcissism of despair. That I may get guidance as to either how to stop returning to this vortex or patience to sit here. For everyone who loves me. Prayers for all those forgotten and lost. Prayers for a full and rapid healing of my skin from bittersweet allergic reaction. Offering prayers for Stephanie's nibbling, Leon, who was in a terrible car accident and is beginning his rehab. May he and his family be supported in love and courage. Prayers for S's partner and her upcoming surgery for breast cancer. Prayers to remove my struggles with food, nourishment, and love. May I remember that I am always worthy of love. Prayers of gratitude for this community, these practices, our teachers, and everyone who showed up to support in the past month. May our practice benefit all beings. Prayers for my mother, whose birthday was yesterday. May the love she gives everyone be returned to her tenfold, and may she find healing from past traumas. Prayers for all Native and Indigenous people, from Turtle Island to Hawaii to Pacifica. May all Indigenous people be recognized with full humanity and sovereignty. May they continue to flourish despite colonialism, past and present. Offering prayers and petitions for Crown in her healing journey with cancer. Prayers for my godmother as she navigates unknowns with her health. May she be surrounded by healing energy and have the support she needs. Offering prayers for my relationship with T, that we may be true to ourselves and let go of miscommunication to allow our relationship to be what it is in our highest good, truest destiny. Offering prayers for my sister and her healing from traumas and that she finds stable and affordable housing. Prayers for all looking for affordable housing, community housing, safe housing. Prayers for all the healers to be courageous and intentional and to be resourced and supported to realize their destiny and connect with everyone they are destined to serve. Prayers for M and her little baby who was just born today. Prayers for her family and birth team. Prayers for Cecilia and her daughters who are caring for her. Prayers for myself and my mother and sisters as we are grieving the passing of my father, Ed. Prayers for myself as I am recovering from some health complications without access to medical insurance. Prayers for Amy P., who is healing with a cancer scare. Offering prayers for the health of my parents, Annette and Brad. Prayers for quick recovery and healing to Laura Nixon. And prayers for the Willettes to have the strength and support they need to be able to face continuing life challenges. Prayers for the elections in the United States for a huge turnout and safety for election workers. Prayers for P's transition and age journey, grieving her loss. Prayers for the journey of beloved R, who transitioned last year at this time, and my son, who would have been 10 tomorrow. Prayers for Jay, grieving her mother. So much grief in this season. May I hold it in health and grace. Prayers for Christine, navigating sudden hearing loss. Prayers for my grandmother, Mina, and those caring for her. Prayers for all those experiencing confusion, doubt, fear, and loneliness, including myself. Offering prayers for Mary David, née Bernhardt, my grandmother who died on Friday. May her next journey lead to unfolding joys. Offering prayers for Laura Herbst, who died in early September, Healing for Hava Bill, who suffers greatly from long-term effects of a head injury. For Damprana and Emily Coffey. For myself, Rachel, an ongoing knee pain, which makes it hard to walk. An upcoming trip to Switzerland to see my teacher, Lord Rinpoche, for help with all the moving around this will entail, and for a good meeting with my teachers. Prayers for me to release ego in service of the needs that I may tend to others and my own, that I may come into authentic and ongoing connection with my ancestors, not guided by guilt, but by spirit. Offering prayers that I may be free from the fear which leads me to procrastinate, even on work I care about. Offering prayers for myself as I practice naming my boundaries and speaking out, which can bring loneliness and isolation. Offering prayers for my family during a time of reconciliation and restoration. Offering prayers for Paul, my dear partner, who is in pain and suffering around his experience of Lyme disease, along with navigating chronic illness. Offering prayers for the ongoing healing and vitality of my physical body and energy field. Prayers that I may move through this grief and the transition and elevation of my grandmother with grace and levity. Prayer that I may remember why I came here. And offering prayers to allow others to heal emotionally, to be able to stay steady and live in stability in an emotional storm. We continue to offer prayers for the land, for the health, well-being, and the stability of the land and the climate. We continue to pray for disruption of all systems of violence that restrict all beings from getting the resources that they need to be well, safe, and happy. We continue to pray for the indigenous people of all lands, that land and sovereignty may be restored, and that we as a world community return to indigenous wisdom, to return back to the land, to return back to community, to return back to eldership, return back to the spirit world for guidance and support. That we may return back to seeing the mother, seeing the earth as the mother, the sky as the father, living interconnectedly in harmony with all the elements. And we pray that we all may get free as quickly as possible, that we exhaust duality and begin to experience the truth of oneness, that the child mind may one day reunite with the mother mind. May we all be free as quickly as possible. And so as we return back into the last part of our mantra, I invite you to imagine, just as an introductory practice to the work of lifting and raising, I invite you to imagine that you begin to energetically lift out of these experiences of doubt and anxiety and confusion, to begin to touch into this kind of space, this fluidity, as if you're physically lifting up out of these lower realms of suffering into these realms of deep gratitude, connection, joy, inspiration, even. Imagining like just kind of letting go and offering everything you struggle with down to the earth and feeling the release of that heaviness, and how the release of the heaviness actually begins to allow you to kind of float, to rise up into a deeper expression of spaciousness, fluidity, and just as an experiment. And moving back into the mantra and allowing the energy of this mantra and the profound enlightenment of medicine Buddha being transmitted through this mantra to allow you to lift up, to allow the mantra to actually to help lift you. So we continue again. Beata om begenze begenze maha begenze rasa sumo ngate soha. O te anda om begenze begenze maha begenze rasa sumo ngate soha. Beata om begenze begenze maha begenze rasa sumo ngate soha. Beata begenze begenze ma begenze la sumangate soa. 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 Beata begenze 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 la sumangate soa. Beata begenze begenze ma 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 begenze la sumangate soa. Beata Sumagatisoa, Teata Om Begenze, Begenze, Mahabegenze, Rasumagatisoa, 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 Teata Om Begenze, 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 Rasumagatisoa, Teata Om Begenze, Begenze, Mahabegenze, 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 Rasumagatisoa. And we'll go straight in to Durga's mantra, Mother Durga, Durga Ma. Om Drum Durgaye Namaha. The Great Mother, who is peaceful to those who are virtuous and wrathful to those who are not so virtuous. Om Drum Durgaye Namaha. We begin with Om. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. 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 Letting go of mantras, visualizations, all the prayers, letting go of trying to do anything, letting your awareness come to rest within the spacious, fluid emptiness. Beginning to rearouse yourself, returning your attention back to the seat, noticing the weight of the body, making contact with the seat, and the seat is lifting to hold you. Grounding in the seat, returning movement into the body, slow movement, awakening the body, Maybe returning, if you want, to some deep breaths. We turn our attention to Shantideva's breath that's been posted right in the chat, and we're going to recite this 3 times. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. All right. Thank you all so much for your practice in this session. And again, just a reminder of the Bhumi Sparsha retreat coming up um, in a couple of weeks. And particularly if you're local, please come and join us. And sign up for Bhumi Sparsha's newsletter as well as my newsletter as well. And if you'd like to contribute, offer dana, please feel free to do so. Whatever you contribute helps in supporting me to continue to offer practices for this community and many other communities as well. Okay, so thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week as well. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone.